And welcome back. It's day 7, technically speaking, of the Guild's Ravnica spoilers. Finally got Tajic, I think that's his pronunciation of his name. We got the last guild master for the guild, the Boris one, Tajic or something along those lines, however it's pronounced. We got a cool mythic, and we got a bunch of stuff also spoiled yesterday as well today, so let's just get into it. Go with the headliners as usual. Tajic, I think his name is pronounced. Legion's Edge. 1 white, 1 red, 1 of any color for a 3/2 human soldier rare creature. Excuse me, legendary creature. Haste. With Mentor, we already know what that does. As long as this guy and our attacking creature is attacking, that's with the creature with the weaker power is going to get +1 counter on it. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. You can pay 1 red and 1 white to give this creature first strike until the end of turn. Trying to remember. I think the other guy had Battalion and he gave Indestructible. I mean, card-wise, it's a good card. Absolutely. I mean, it's a 3/2 for 3 that just already has Haste and Mentor, so it's already a plus. It prevents non-combat damage. See, that's great against things like the Izzet, or what we'll probably see in Gruul or Rakdos later on, where, you know, he can basically take any of the damage that they would deal through their spells and just make it non-existent. But in a guild that's based on attacking, I would have expected him to be more combat damage orientated. I mean, that being said, that would probably bump him up the mythic and make him too powerful, admittedly. And then kind of just giving him first strike is just kind of a little kind of a bit of icing on the cake, if you will. But still, good card. I like it. I mean, if I got somehow stuck in red and blue, I'd play the card. Red and blue, red and white, and I like red and white. It's not one of my more favored color combinations, I think. When I did that list, I think it. No, actually, I take it back. I think it ranked up higher, but that's because of how I found ways to work with it. Still, not a bad card. The mythic is the M is silent. I believe it's Mnemonic Betrayal. 1 blue, 1 black, 1 of any color for a mythic rare sorcery. Exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. You may cast those cards this turn. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast those spells. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remained exiled, return them to their owner's graveyard and exile this card. This card is just disgusting. This card is disgusting. Because you automatically, obviously, you want to play this late game. That's the thing. You want to play this late game when you have the mana to use it. This thing is going to be a nightmare for anyone in Commander to play against with the amount of mana that the format allows. But let's just say it's late game. You got 10 mana at your disposal. And basically, you exiled your opponent's entire graveyard. You've still got 7 mana there. You can play these, maybe play one of their big things, small thing, or just a bunch of small things. No matter what you play, really just the board state with what's left just resets itself and goes back to where it was prior. There is no downside to the card. Now, the problem is this card really is a do-nothing card until then, because otherwise you're just going to have to wait until you have enough mana to play shit in their grave. And blue and black is not the best for mana acceleration. You're just going to have to wait outright for the mana to use shit they have. But that said, it's still a really, again, right deck, it's going to just wreak havoc on people. Even the wrong deck, it'll still be a fun card. Clever Cover Up is 2 blue, 2 of any color for instant. Common, counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into the owner's graveyard. Shuffle up to 4 cards from your graveyard into your library. This is kind of a good recursion for your Surveil and just a good recursion in general. It's a recursion counter spell, and that's not bad. I mean, 4 mana is a bit hefty, but nothing serious. I could see it being used. I don't know if I'd personally use it, but I could see it being used. Kraul Foragers. And Kraul, not Growl, but Kraul, K-R-A-U-L. It's a Golgari card. Green, 4 of any color for a 4/4 insect scout. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each creature in your graveyard. Not something I'd overly use in any of my regular decks, but for a sealed event, if I were in green, yeah, I could see this being okay. I mean, at 5 mana, you're probably not playing it until early as turn 4, or turn 5. But you play it late. Obviously, it's cards like Undergrowth that have this kind of effect benefit you in the late game. This will be a nice little pump up, and you'll still get a little bit of a 4 body. Doesn't have any other ability, which is unfortunate. I mean, it's an insect. I maybe would have liked to have seen it at least have reach or something. But for what it is, it's not a bad common. It's a nice little, okay, I'm a little down at the moment. It's late game. I've got like 5 creatures in the graveyard. I'll play a 4/4 and gain 5 life. Hopefully that can keep me afloat for a bit longer. That's not bad. Undercity Uprising. 1 black, 1 green, 2 of any color. Sorcery. Creatures you control gain death touch until the end of turn. Then target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. It just said creature. Yeah, this is... that means automatically all your creatures gain death touch. You're going to kill at least one thing on the field. So it's immediately a kill spell. For 4 mana at sorcery speed, a kill spell is a bit slow. But it basically just pumped up your entire field with death touch. So unless something has indestructible or first strike, or double strike if they have first strike, then you're killing pretty much, you're board wiping just about everything on the opponent's field. So, I mean, it's a solid card. It's just a little slow. But who knows? I'm sure there's people who will find use for it. Rock Charger. Rock Charger is 1 white, 2 of any color for a bird. A 1/3 uncommon card. Flying. When it attacks, target attacking creature gets flying, without flying, gains flying until they get in turn. This is kind of like Mentor without the Mentor. This is an effect that has existed for a while. Pump up something with the same effect that you have. Flying is always a... Where'd you go? There you are, puppy. Flying is always a popular mechanic to do with that. Overall, it's an okay card. It's 3 mana for a 1/3 flyer, which is not god-awful. It's not great, but it's not god-awful. Then it's going to be boosting your other Mentors things. This is, it doesn't have the Boros watermark. It is a Boros card. Crowl Harpooner. Now, I reread this one last night, and I'm going to have to be really... Okay, so it's a 3/2 with reach, and it costs 1 green and 1 of any color. Now, it doesn't have a downside, so right off the bat, you're getting a 3/2 with reach for 2. So use this card if you're in green. Insect Warrior, uncommon, Undergrowth. Okay. When it enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature with flying you don't control. This card gets +X/+0 until the end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and then you may have this card fight that creature. This is a weird card. Not because it's not good. You're essentially going to either aim for a flyer. You're either going to aim for a flyer and take out the flyer and probably take this thing out too because it only pumps up his power. Or you're just going to play a 2 that's going to get it pumped up for a turn and then nothing. So at nothing else, you're always going to have a 3/2 with the reach on the field for 2, which is not bad at all. That's not a bad trade-off at all. Only thing is that, oh my god, I'm sorry. I don't know what it is, but we've been having a lot of yellow jackets flying in the house lately, and I live in the woods. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, you know what? I think I know what it might be. I'll have to take care of that after the video's done. Anyway, but the card's good. The card's good. Just weird, in my opinion. Charnel Troll. 1 green, 1 black, 1 of any color for a 4/4 troll rare. Trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Charnel Troll. Otherwise, sacrifice it. Pay 1 black, 1 green, discard a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. I get it. This has kind of got an Undergrowth underlining effect to it. Problem is, this thing actually... See, this card looks good in theory, but this card is actually is not good for your Golgari deck because it's pretty much... Look, I get... Maybe you'd only run 1. I get it. 1 is fine, I think. But the point is that the point of the Undergrowth mechanic is to have creatures in your graveyard and get effects, activate effects. With this, now I want to double check. Is it a May or no, it just says exile. It's not a May ability. You're getting rid of your graveyard. What's the point of playing that deck then if you're going to be playing a card that's going to be getting rid of shit in your graveyard that benefits you for having more stuff in the graveyard? This card is completely counterintuitive to that. Otherwise, now outside of that, I can see this card working fine. Right up the bat, it's a 4/4 for 3. If you can get at least 1 card in your graveyard and then activate its effect, you can always get cards in the graveyard. That's creatures in the graveyard. That's not an issue. And you can pump it up pretty quick. You can get it to easily 7 or 8, no problem. But the problem is that you need to have shit in the graveyard. Otherwise, it's just going to die. And then what was the point of playing it? I'm not a fan of that card myself. Hazadon Marshal. 1 white, 1/1, human soldier, uncommon. When it and at least 2 other creatures attack, so you got a little bit of the battalion ability from Gatecrash in there. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Essentially, you're going to get more tokens, things along those lines. It's all right. Problem is this thing's going to die pretty quick. That's the problem. It's just a 1/1 for 1. I get it. You play it on turn 1, but you need to attack with at least 2 other creatures, and at that point, unless of course, then you have the mentor ability. I get that. So, but there's a good chance this thing will be dead before you really get any real use out of that ability. So I don't know. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's at least a 1-drop that has a beneficial effect. Gird of Battle. 1 white. Just 1 white sorcery. Common. Put up to 2 counters. 1/1 count. Excuse me. Put up to 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 2 target creatures, or put a +1/+1 counter up to 2 target creatures. First of all, it's a good card. It's just a permanent pump. The thing about it is that this is very, what was it, gift of, there's like 2 cards that this reminds me of. One was a white and a green from the original Ravnica that just said put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It said that 3 times, so either put 3 +1 counters on 1 creature or just divvy it out. I even have the card, I believe. And then there's the other one that I believe came out in, it was either Theros or Return to Ravnica, that's similar to that, but cost 1 more and did 1 less counters. So this is now pretty much that card pumped back up and only on 1 mana, but I think both of those were instances, so they did slow it down. Otherwise, though, it's a pretty solid card. You're getting a permanent effect with just 1 mana. It's a good card. Yeah, I'd play it. Citywide Bust. 1 white, or 2 white, and 1 of any color, so 3. For sorcery, rare. Destroy all creatures with toughness 4 or greater. It's going to get rid of your big... It's basically the kind of a different version of that Ritual of Soot, which got rid of everything with converted mana cost 3 or less. Different version of that. You're not going to be running into too many big things in this set right now. There's a couple that have a butt bigger than 4. Ultimately, though, I mean, it's got to get rid of all the big shit on your opponent's field, and that's the important thing. Problem is, it'll also do that to your field. But overall, again, good card, cheap, affordable, good board wipe. This card's interesting. Risk Factor is 1 red, 2 of any color for a instant rare. Target opponent may have Risk Factor deal them 4 damage. Or, if they don't, you draw 3 cards and it has Jumpstart. And see, I've heard people speak of Punisher mechanics. A card that gives your opponent a choice. And whatever the choice is, it's supposed to either punish them in some way or benefit you. Most people have said they didn't get the Punisher mechanics right. I think a couple tribute cards are decent Punisher cards. Overall, though, not the case. This card, however, I think is good because either you have a burn spell for 4, which does 4 damage to their face, which you can then jumpstart and do it again, or you can draw 3 cards. Either way, play multiple copies of this, your opponent's gonna be having a freaking problem on hand. Seriously, just 2 copies of this means you get 4 plays of it. Your opponent has a problem on their hand with this card. This card alone can win you a game, no problem, because you either get 3 new cards or you're dealing 4 damage to their face. It's a win-win either way. So I remember the Vexing Devil. Vexing Devil, if you don't remember, was a 4/3 for 1 red mana, and I have a couple myself. I really enjoy Vexing Devil. That you either brought it out or your opponent could take 4 damage and destroy the creature or sacrifice the creature. And a lot of people liked it, but then apparently it didn't work out. Well, basically it's either a burn spell to the face or you're getting a 4/3. Now, late game of 4/3 is not going to matter much, but for 1 mana, that's still a body that can block, in my opinion. So ultimately, it's a good card. That's a really good card, Risk Factor. I like that. Card's going to be going in some decks. Trust me, it's going to go in some decks. Light of the Legion, 2 white, 4 of any color for a 5/5 angel, rare, flying, with mentor. When it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on each white creature you control. It's your really big mentor. It's bigger than even Aloria. And it can even pump her up, which then in turn she can pump her own army up. In fact, what's cool about that is that Aloria can then pump this creature up to pump her up even more, continually do that until she decides to just pump herself up instead. This is a really good card. This is going to be something you're going to be playing in your Boros decks, in your Mentor decks. Absolutely. And I could definitely see me using it. Oh, God. These names. I love Magic, but the names sometimes, man. Okay. Rhizome Rhizome or Rhizome, Lurcher. 2 of any color, 1 black, 2 and 1 green for a 2/2 fungus zombie. When it enters the battlefield, you get a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard. So essentially, it's a 4 costing 2/2 creature that can come out as probably like a 3 or 4, maybe a 5. Early game, this isn't going to matter much. It's a common though. So for a common creature, okay, you play it for 4, maybe you got 2 or 3 creatures, comes out as either a 4 or 5. So it's a vanilla beat stick at that point, which is fine. It's got no extra abilities, but he doesn't need to have it. It's alright. It's not the worst. Bolt Splicer Mage, 1 red, 1 blue for a Vendalken, I'm guessing wizard or Vendalken Mage. 2/2, uncommon. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Bolt Splicer Mage, if you control 1 or more creatures that spell can target, choose one of them. Copy that spell, and it targets the chosen creature. The problem I have with these spells is that there's only these types of effects on a creature, is that these creatures, not only are they reliant solely on spells for their effect, but they need to be targeted, which means it limits the spells that you can actually play on the creature. Because you can't use spells that like burn for damage or something like that, or exile something. You can only use spells that pretty much benefit you. Now, granted, you're going to probably try to craft your deck around that. So things like that high velocity or the other one that gives the flying, those are going to be fine to use, absolutely. But the problem is that when you actually look so far at yes, you can factor in other cards that exist in other sets at the moment, but I'm factoring just this limited environment right now. There's not a lot of cards, red or blue, that do that right now. Let me check real quick here. We got... nope, not that one. Already, I'm having trouble finding some... Okay, we got that Maximum Velocity. That's that 1 red that pumps up for 1/1 and gives haste. Right off the bat, we're having some problems here. We are having some problems here. Yeah, seriously, I'm hardly getting any spells that do, blue or red spells anyway, that pump. Now, if you want to splash you do a 3rd color, that's going to give you some more options. You got Invert, which switches power and toughness, he's got the same power and toughness, so you could do it on some other character. You got the Maximum Altitude, so you had maximum velocity and maximum altitude. Now, to be fair, we haven't seen all the spells yet in this set. So maybe we will end up getting some more pump spells. I'd have to believe we got at least 1 or 2 more. In red at minimum. Because blue's not big on the pump spells. But ultimately, I'm not a fan of this card. I cannot say I'm a fan. I would not use this card myself. Electrostatic Field. It is a wall creature. 1 of any color and 1 red for a 0/4 wall, uncommon defender. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this card deals 1 damage to each opponent. Very similar to kind of some other effects like that. And it's a fine effect. You're going to use that, at least in limited, to ping opponents. It's going to be able to block at least the non-flyers for a while. Ultimately, though, yeah, it's fine. I can think of better card like Jealous Center, the one from the original Ravnica that tap, untap, tap, untap, and you can be pinging for 1 damage. That one was better, honestly. Equinox of I'm going to guess the Conclave of the Council. I'm going to say the Conclave or the Council. What's the full name of this thing? Okay, it is of the Conclave, because that's Convoke. Makes sense. Where'd you go? Come back here. Where'd that card go? Man, I've still got a few cards left. Flying 4/5 with Convoke. It costs 8 mana. Obviously, that's not going to cost 8 mana with Convoke. Ultimately, yeah, it's okay. Okay card. We got our uncommon Selesnya Split card. 1 hybrid mana, green-white, for flower, sorcery, uncommon. Search your library for a basic forest or playing card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Start with your library. Or you can play Flourish, 1 green, 1 white. Oh, I've already spoken of that. No, I haven't. 1 green, 1 white, 4 of any color. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until the end of the turn. So you either get a 6 mana costing pump effect for the entire field, or you can just get a search. Honestly, depending if you got I'd probably just use the search. Late game, it might be a good finisher, but honestly, I just use the search. And honestly, it's not a bad card overall. Experimental Frenzy. This is a fun kind of design. 1 red, 3 of any color for a rare enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. You cannot play cards from your hand, but you can pay 3 of any color and 1 red to destroy this card. This is just a fun kind of design. I don't know how good it's going to be, especially if you... Now, if you... Here's the thing. If you top... This is actually the best top deck in the world. This is the best top deck in the world. It's like, I only got 1 card left. Well, now I've got multiple cards left. Haha, I play this card. So now I look at it. Oh, it's a land. I'll play that. I look at the next one. I play that. I look at the next one. Can I play it? Well, I guess I can. Best top deck in the world. Otherwise, I don't know. This is one of those you have to think of a deck to build with this card. But I like it. I do. I might try to make a deck on this thing. This thing's fun. Eternal Troops. 1 black, 1 green, 1 of any color. For zombie soldiers, 2/2. Discard a card, or a creature card. This card gets +2/+2 and trample to the end of turn. So you can make a 4/4 for 3 if you discard a creature card. Downside is it has to be a creature card. So you're a little limited in that format. So, which means... The problem that this really raised for me is that in the Golgari decks, you're going to have to be a lot more creature-focused than spell-focused. And I'm generally a more creature-oriented guy anyway, but you should still have a certain amount of spells to protect yourself. Golgari is kind of forcing you to definitely be more heavily creature-inclined than spell-inclined. I mean, there's definitely spells in the color, definitely. And you will run some, but I feel like you're probably going to be running less than you should. I don't know. That's my opinion. We have Drowned Secrets, 1 blue, 1 of any color. Whenever you cast a blue spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. Kind of a... Oh. I have the cards. There was a card where an opponent casts a spell, they put the top 2 cards in your library. Kind of like that. Meets a Jace's Erasure, but when you cast a blue spell, you have to be in blue, obviously, and with the way the skill sets are working... or the guilds are working, you need to be in more than 1 color. So, I don't know. I do not know. Might of the Masses, though, gets a reprint. 1 green, target creature get +1/+1 until the end turn for each creature you control. With things like Selesnya, that's going to be pretty useful. Goblin Locksmith is 1 red, 1 of any color for a 2/1. Goblin Rogue, whenever it attacks creatures you with Defender can't block this turn. I am noticing there are a couple more creatures with Defender in this set, so I don't know. Maybe Defender's going to be coming back in some way. Dawn of Hope. Now, I don't know if this is a rare or a mythic. When I first looked at it, saw it, I thought it was a mythic. Looks like a rare, though. 1 white, 1 of any color for a enchantment rare, it looks like. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2 life, and if you do draw a card, you may pay 3 of any color and 1 white to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. If you're gaining more than, say, 1 life per turn, this is a great card. Otherwise, if you're just gaining, let's say, like 1 life, it kind of defeats the purpose of gained life and paying. Granted, you're able to still draw cards and everything along those lines, create 1/1 lifelink tokens. It's a good card. I have decks that would go in because I have lifelink centered decks. I have life gaining decks. But ultimately, it's a good card. I like it. I don't know how useful it's going to be in a limited environment, depending on how much lifelink or life gain is available. But we'll see. Gargoyle Guardian, 6 of any color for a 3/3 gargoyle artifact creature. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each gate you control. I mean, realistically, you'll probably have... It says each gate, not each different gate. So, if you're running multiple copies of a gate, I'm gonna guess that there's probably gonna be... And again, I'm thinking of a sealed, pre-release environment right now. You'd pull maybe at least 2, and you'd probably run the 2, as long as they're within your colors. 3, if you're lucky. So, if you by chance had the 2, you'd come out with a 5/5 flyer for 6, which isn't terrible. A 6/6 flyer for 6 isn't terrible either. Has no extra effect, though, which is unfortunate. But still, it's not terrible. It's just okay. Last but not least, we have Pelt Collector, which is a 1/1 elf warrior for 1 green mana, a rare card. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power was greater than Pelt Collector, put a +1/+1 counter on Pelt Collector. As long as Pelt Collector has 3 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has trample. I'm seeing a pattern because Kiln, or what was it? The one... I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find the damn thing because I liked it. It was weird, but fun. Elemental of the Kiln? Was that? I know Kiln was in the name of it. 1 second here. Sorry for the wait. Sorry for the wait. Nope. 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 Man, we've had a lot of spoilers. And this was an early spoiler. We're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. Oh, there it is. There it is. What was it called? It was, yeah, Runaway Streamkin. Sorry, I thought it was Kiln. Yeah, it has this. It has a similar effect. I think there was a red or a black card that has a similar effect to it as well. Either way, it's an interesting card. You play it for one, things will die and it'll get bigger. But I mean, even if you play it on turn one, thing is, if you play it on turn one, it's nothing more than a 1-drop at that point. It's only really. Here's the thing, though, too. It's not like you kill the runaway Steamkin. It's not like that in the sense that you kind of cap out at 3. It still gets more +1 counters past 3 +1/+1 counters. So you can make it pretty big, but otherwise you just drop it on turn 1. It just kind of sits there, does nothing. But I mean, that's my thoughts on the card spoil today. I'm sure there'll be more, but I'll just save them for tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching, though. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, wants to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, superhero magic, what if, anything I do on the channel, put that in the comments below as well. Sorry for rubbing my arm. I fell asleep. I've unfortunately been having a tendency of falling asleep in my arm, and it went like it's been going severely numb. So like I like kind of had to like shake it back a lot, basically like that. So now I'm having kind of a perpetual ache in the arm. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next.